The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, has dismissed most of KPMG's criticisms of Nigeria's new tax laws. The audit, tax and advisory firm, KPMG, had noted that the laws contain serious errors, gaps and inconsistencies that could raise business costs, weaken investor confidence and trigger capital market volatility. The firm flagged issues such as taxing capital gains without adjusting for inflation, stricter rules on indirect foreign asset transfers, limits on deducting foreign currency expenses, denial of deductions where VAT was not charged, and unclear compliance rules for non-resident companies.
If this tax reform were a group project, Taiwo Oyedele says KPMG is complaining about the handwriting and not the work. He says KPMG's remarks reflect a misunderstanding of the policy's intent, mischaracterization of deliberate choices, and the firm's own preferences rather than real errors, stating that only a few of KPMG's points were useful, mainly those relating to implementation risk and clerical or cross-referencing issues. Now, join us this morning for this very important discussion is President Kosofe Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Joe Femi-Dagunro. Warm welcome to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would I say Guten Morgen?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, a good place to start with is your general overview. You represent the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. You speak to SMEs and business owners. You have a community. What's the general overview of this new tax reform and laws from the business side of it?
Basically, you'll see that it's a new thing for now. There will be suggestions, there will be criticisms, there will be fear, there will be, all those things that people are not used to. Increasing taxes or lowering taxes, it will take some time for people to really get used to this. And once they get used to it, we'll move on. But I can understand from the point or from the angle of Taiwo Oyedele, he's a brilliant gentleman who understands this. He's been in the industry. And I can see some of the points that KPMG are making. I mean, PwC and KPMG.
Rivals,
yes, so, but I don't want to look at it from that point. I want to look at it from the point of investors who are really concerned about this. It would really take some time. And this time, we just have to start. We have to begin somewhere. And let's see how it goes. In the next 6 months, I think a lot of people will be used to certain aspects of it. People don't know who collects what right now, but they say, look, we are not going to be paying double taxation, but we are not going to be paying double taxes here and there. And let's see, what's the role of the local government, the role of the state government, and unless that is basically defined for people to understand where they're going, are we still going to be paying the regular taxes to the state? Are we still going to be paying regular taxes to the federal government? Who collects what, when? These are the questions investors or businesses will be asking, and some of them are scared. Anyway, they don't even know how to calculate it. And I think some of these things need more enlightenment. A lot of enlightenment have to be done, not just on TV alone, town halls, businesses, meetings here and there. I think it's just a matter of time. Some of the issues raised by KPMG, yes, like Taiwo said, I think as a matter of fact, most people, if we continue to criticize this reform, it will continue to bring more fear into the
KPMG is one of the big 4 consulting firms in the world. You can't just dismiss what they say as complain about the handwriting and not the content of the homework. Shouldn't we be concerned? And your other issue of, let's start and see where it goes. I mean, these are people's lives at stake. Their monies, they need to plan, and it's almost very risky. It's like driving blindfolded, that's just what it feels like.
No, you see, when I say let's begin something, is this. Even most of the accountants out there, with all due respect to accountants, I've asked a couple of my friends, even accountants within the chambers, and they said, look, we have to study this thing, we have to know where we're going. They still have to study. They still
experts,
have to, yes, because you can't just jump on it. But I know KPMG is talking, from their own perspective of saying, look, we are not saying it's bad, but we're just pointing out some of these errors. So you can just simply go ahead and tell us, these errors are there. If they are found, we are ready to adjust. We are ready to, it is not even from KPMG immediately. It was from the House.
Honorable Abdusamad Dasuki.
Right, who said, listen, this is not what we signed, this is not what we discussed. I mean, that raised this trouble for the tax people, for the federal government. That look, if a senator or if a lawmaker is saying this is not what we signed, this is not what we discussed, then you begin to worry about that. Is there any other thing called pardon in this one? Is there any other thing wrong? I think from there, a lot of
and
people...
it also erodes trust.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You know, you see that I think that's the beginning. That was the beginning of the problem. And I think for now, the committee or those who are responsible for it will be looking into it and say this is what we have to do. There is still room for correction, but it's just we say we are starting from January 1st, and we did not consider the fact that what about if there are errors here and there? Do we have the room to really sort this out? I think that's what is giving some people some concerns. So what about if we go into it now and we start paying all these things and you come back and tell us, oh, we're sorry, we shouldn't have done this way, that way. Who pays back? And that is what you are talking about. It's about the existence of investors or companies or businessmen and women. So it's really of some concerns, but that should not be what we make us not to start a new thing.
Okay, so now it seems like there's a bit of confusion, right? The question now is, how do you think that these would impact investor confidence?
I tell you what, globally, investors are always looking for a place they can make enough profit. It's just about profit. And then if you tax, like what the KPMG gentleman was saying in one of the interviews, that so, oh, they may not come here again. They will come. Because it's not just that they were looking at. They were looking at security. They were looking at, the stability of the government. They will be looking at so many other issues. They have to pay tax. I mean, you pay taxes in Europe, you pay taxes in America, and sometimes you don't consider that the security in America, the security in Germany or wherever, taxes are meant for people to be paid, not just the foreigners or the investors alone. But like, if we don't have investors, how do we have the job market improved? How do we have all these things going on? But the profit may be lower, but there will still be profit. This is a country whereby there are a lot of opportunities for investors.
So what you're saying in essence is that, for example, maybe our numbers, our population is enough to drive them to come, and that it doesn't matter that this taxation issue, there isn't as much clarity yet. And the fact that it's new would not affect investor confidence in that way.
There could be one or two, a few investors that.
But not on the large scale.
Yes, but at the same time, you can. So when you talk about this population, you have a population of 200 million, and if 100 and something million are poor, they cannot buy the product. What else can you offer? So you have the population. You have to get the population. You have to get the money into their pockets, and it's only that is viable, and that the market is viable, or the market is interesting for any investor to look into.
Okay, let's look at some of the loopholes that were flagged. Taxing capital gains without adjusting for inflation. Can you shed more light on that?
Yeah, because you see, inflation itself is all these projections. When you project that, okay, it's going to be like this. The inflation is rising. It will come down, it will rise. But the people, this is what I'm saying, you want to have a steady market. We should be having job opportunities for people. We should be having opportunities, infrastructure for people to really see that we're spending this money correctly. So if we are taxing capital gain, there must be a reason for that. But for long, we have to begin to see that for a long time, we have not been really doing all these things we're supposed to do, and other countries are benefiting. Investors have been benefiting from it. So I think for now, it's just to sit down with the tax firms or the consultants who are really versed in this, and they begin to address that. In some countries, you have to take certain decisions that will just be binding on people. So if this decision has been taken by the federal government, I think most of the things we are talking about, the people just want to see, I mean, let's say the ordinary people now, the Nigerian citizens, the citizens want to see that even if you collect all this money, what are you going to do with it?
Absolutely.
If you say...
Does that apply to businesses?
Yes, the businesses, if the infrastructures are going to be worked on and they are going to be improved upon, for goodness sake, then the people will say, okay, after all, we're paying for something and we're getting it back. If you have a projection of making 5 years gain and we have to extend it for 6 years, I think nobody will be bothered. But when the infrastructure, the cost of running the business is rising every day, and you are not making that what you projected for. And you see the government, what is the government doing about it? This is about federal government that we're talking about. Yes. What about the local government? What about the state government? What are they going to do I mean, we've been hearing in the past where they said, no, the state governments, they have so much money now, but we have not seen the improvement.
Yeah, from the savings from subsidy removal.
So now, is it going to be the same thing whereby we just wake up one day and say, look, we're writing off something, we're doing this, and people just want to know if this is going to improve their lives, their businesses, then we can just move on.
Now, I want to ask you a question about VAT. What businesses are subject to paying VATs? Because some Nigerians have started complaining that, you know, people are taking advantage of this new tax reforms. You go to a shop that sells beans and bread and you see VAT in your receipt. Are you supposed to pay that VAT? They're being clever.
See, like I said, there's always a way out for so many people. Even some supermarkets, you go in there, the prices are not listed. They have to take it today because they are afraid that, you know, the foreign exchange, they still keep telling you that the foreign exchange could go to 2,000. They are, you know, it's assumption that, look, if this thing goes there and I label this, most supermarkets go there. Yes. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that VAT has not been increased, right? So if the VAT has not been increased and you are just to, you know, pay your taxes and get things done accordingly, who knows? Maybe things will be better. You see, that's why you don't want to hear who knows, because this is about, but you know, it's step by step. We're just in the step of, let's give this thing a new phase. Let's give it a proper phase. Let's do it the way it should be done.
But in other climes, what's the global best practice? When you have such an earthquake-ing reform that has to do with people's finances, their lives, basically, how do they go about, you know, awareness, implementation, and also notice to businesses and citizens that, look, this is about to happen, this monumental change?
Yes, see, let me take Germany, for example, because that's where I spent a couple of years, and there's always this time frame thing. You know, you give enough time for people to prepare for this. You know, but you know, sometimes politicians don't think they have to give enough time because that their own time is limited. Okay, maybe 4 years, oh, I'm only spending 2 years to do this thing, let me do it, and let me do it quick. But there's no quick fix in this. You know, you have to allow the people to understand it. Look at how long it took them to, you know, exchange euro from Dutch mark to euro. Look at, you know, when they increased from 11%, 15% to 19% and 17% in all these places. So they are increasing all these things because they feel that it will, you know, balance their own account as well. At the same time, the people will benefit from it. I mean, that is the way it's supposed to be done. And if you don't give the people enough time, educate them enough about this, you know, there will be always a way. The people want to find a way not to pay tax. Yes. People don't want to pay tax anywhere in the world. You know, they keep complaining, why am I paying this tax? You know, if you work, for instance, in Germany as a single person or, you know, you are earning your salary, almost 40-something% goes out of your salary.
That's huge.
And that's a lot. But then, can you complain? Yes, you can complain if you like. Don't go to work. Yes, if you don't go to work, there's a welfare service for you who pays your rent and whatever. So people find a way. But when you get used to it, they say, okay, if you are married, you know, with 2 children, with 3 children, this is how much we pay. The kids, they're encouraging you to get married. If you want to build your house, you say, okay, look, I want to put solar panels on my roof. Then the government says, okay, this is what we subsidize for you. So if we have such plans that we develop, you know, the country, I don't think we'll be having this kind of problem because in the past we don't have any plan for this, and I don't know whether...
I mean, what we typically see is extended convoys of government officials, but that's
a political thing. I mean, you see, if you pay a councillor that maybe that has never earned 100-something thousand before, and you say, look, to be a councillor you earn so much and you get a car, you know, that means it's political. There's nothing. But if the taxes are well coordinated, are well structured, and we begin to see that it is not just to write off other debts here and there, but it's to improve on the community.
But that's not even the business of the taxman. His own is to get the money.
So he gets it, he gives it. So the people are not, you see, most of the people we're talking about, they don't know, most of the businesses, I mean, from the people at the grassroots level, the SMEs, most of them don't understand all these jargons of taxes. You know, all they know is that, look, you pay the threshold, or they don't understand that. They just know that you are paying tax, how much do I have to pay? And if you have to pay, listen, I've just told you, even people are afraid to take a loan. You know, we have a cooperative society, and we say, look, we are giving you 5% per annum. And people say, oh, they will tax it. You know, say, how much tax it? And you know, and when people say everything now is that they will tax it, they will tax it. So, but who is going to tax your loan? But then that is what they're talking about. And this presidential commission, as we say, we are not taxing everything in your life. Even there will be advantages for you. They say they will tax your account. People are withdrawing money.
Yes. There are real life consequences.
Of course,
even the narrations on account on statements is ridiculous.
I saw one recently. Please don't touch my money.
I saw one recently. Please, this money is to buy Plan B pills or make PK no come this world Kosofe.
So you can imagine it's only people like you that will look at your receipts or from the supermarket. Most people don't look at it. They just know that I've paid. But the money, if it is transferred or remitted to the government, and then the government says this is what we are using your tax money for, I think in the next 5 years we'll be in a better place.
All right. So how would you say we can ensure that the government gives this clarity to citizens? Going forward, what measures?
I mean, since the ship already sailed.
Yes, the ship has already sailed. And they will tell you that regardless of how much time we ask for, that there's no policy that doesn't have challenges. They make reference to maybe like Obamacare and the likes. So the ship has sailed. What can we do going forward to ensure clarity from the government and that the citizens hold the government accountable?
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing, and it continues to go on and on and on. I mean, there will be adjustment, there will be review, there will be, new policies to come up to support it. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be an ongoing thing. We cannot just sit down one day and say, listen, this is how it's going to be, and it's going to be that way. I mean, it's the reform. That's why it's called a reform. The reform will give opportunity for people to come out. The understanding is now there. People are talking about taxes. Before, nobody talks about taxes. But right now, people are talking about taxes. They want to know now. I think the awareness is gradually sinking into the minds of the people, and we have to understand that it will take some time. And like when I say some time, I don't mean it to take about 50 years, 20 years. No, it should be within a year or two that people will get clarified section. I mean, when I say clarified, I mean, it's not classified now. And it will be well understood that even the local governments, the radio stations, wherever we can get these people together to advise and to teach and to tell them, even from the primary school, from the secondary school. I mean, people are doing commerce, people are doing economics. Let's begin to, add it into the system that, look, this is what you're going to face. And people will get used to it. But when you say tax, the woman in the market just say, unfair tax me. You even hear the word. They want to come and tax me. I'm in a community whereby I talk to these people and I understand their fear, their anxiety. But like you said, the ship is sailing. And
I mean, there's also a threshold for those who will be paying taxes. So I think the generality of Nigeria.
But you'll be surprised that even those who you think are not within that threshold fall within the threshold. The small and medium scale businesses will get into that. By the time you look at their annual income, you would see that a number of them fall within that threshold.
Yeah, but for now, nobody, you see, most of the SMEs or nano businesses, they don't go ahead to even plan salaries because you cannot budget your salary in some of these businesses. And some of them cannot pay themselves 100,000, 200,000. So most of them will now understand what it is. Because it's not like a big company that says, okay, this is the salary for months, for years, for quarter, this annual leave and all that. But SMEs don't have that. They don't go, most of them don't go on leave like we go. So they are working, almost 24/7 a day, and they have to pay themselves. So we cannot really say that it has to be, and like you said, a lot of them will fall under that threshold, but those who work to get more money, they don't want to pay all over the world. And that's why I think there's this appeal commission or ombudsman that will take care of this. If you are overtaxed, if you don't understand, if there's this, you can always appeal it. And I think that's the human face out of all this, that there's not going to be boots on the ground to keep arresting people all over the place and say, show me your tax ID and all that. So now it's about moving on and correcting what is supposed to be corrected. If there are mistakes, I think Taiwo Oyedele will listen as much as he can. And I mean, let's be fair, the guy is doing a great job. Most people will not be able to take, or they wouldn't want to take this kind of task.
And be the face of.
Yes, because, he goes around and, in one of these meetings, I was saying, look, why is it that you are the only one speaking? What about other people? And he said, look, but it's showing the face and it's coming out. It's changing the name from FIRS to Nigerian Revenue Service. It's just a name change, and it's a name change that people will not understand now. So for me, it's this. how are we going to cope with the state and with the local government? So if that is being breached, if that's being spoken of,
duplicity of taxes.
yes, and then
finally, Mr.
Okay, no, before we take that final question, we need to go on a very quick break. When we come back from this break, we'll be taking that question, and then there'll be more with us, more happening this morning. Please stay with us.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central this morning, and we're discussing the controversial tax reforms as Presidency pushes back on KPMG claims and defends the law. Join us this morning for this very important discussion is the founder and president of Kosofe Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Joe Femi-Dagunro. Thank you for staying with us. Before we went on that break, I wanted to conclude this interview. My final question was, what are the feelers from the business community, and how do they feel with this tax reforms? Are they happy? Are they excited? Is there apprehension?
Well, when you say happy, I tell you what, nobody, nobody, is happy, paying all these taxes all over the world. I've repeated that. The point is this: if the government is doing so much, I think the people will say, after all, I can see the value of what I'm, and you can be confident to speak out. But the problem now is they have no option not to pay taxes with the way it is. And that's why you say they are spreading the net, they want to catch a lot of people into it and all that. I think we have to begin to see that it's a good thing. This is one of the things we have to tell them.
Maybe we need to go back to, because I remember, was it on that Fashila, the administration of Governor Ambode? So they will do a road, and then there will be a billboard, taxpayers.
Yes, this is a taxpayers' money. Yeah. But we have to look at it that even when Buhari was there, a threshold of 25 million for SMEs and all that, and they said it's 50 million. So if you are not even making up to that 50 million, you have a kind of space for yourself. And they say you can tax, you are not going to tax all this. You can deduct your cost of your building, the cost of these people. Some people don't even know that before now. And now it is now for us to do business and see that we are really making gain in our businesses. Most of the SMEs don't even do all those things. They don't have a plan to say, this is what I'm going to pay for a year.
I see an opportunity here, a space for tax consultants and tax advisors.
Yes.
But let's hope we don't have mushroom, because, Nigerians can be so...
You can't control that. You see, that's what I'm saying. There will be job opportunities.
Will become an overnight tax expert.
Most of them,
masterclass.
Yes, most of them, do they understand? Do they really know it? And that's why some of my friends say, we are studying it. So they might be studying it for the first 1 or 2 months. You see, the government has to gain the trust of the people. Once you gain the trust of the people, a lot of things will be done. It's about trust, it's about anxiety.
And that leads me to my next question. Before that trust of the people, we will admit that right now there isn't trust. What actions, or what are the low-hanging fruits that the government can do to win at least some portion of the citizens' trust?
I think, number one, we should, people want to see less of all these controversies. People want to see, at the same time, other people coming from another angle to say, look, it is your tax we're going to use to do this. If you say you are going to build a road or construct a 6-lane highway, and at the end of the day say you are still going to toll it, the people will say, Shaban, some tax, but we are paying tax. So now everything is that we are paying tax, and people want to see that certain things should be free. Education should be well coordinated, and you say, look, they're having loans right now, they don't need to pay immediately. It's part of all those things. The government should do more on what they are doing for the people. They should announce that more. They should do more on making this not a propaganda.
And now the people even have more ammunition to hold the government responsible. It's not just we're paying tax. You've removed subsidy from oil, and we're paying tax. So the government needs to show.
That's it. There should be more enlightenment. There should be more information going out from the presidency or from the government, from all the states. Because you don't even hear the state talking about this. It says like, it's a federal government issue. The state is not saying, the local government is not saying anything about it. So there should be more information coming out from the state, from the local government, from people who are responsible to give this information. But if you don't have this information, then the people surely they'll be afraid. There's no doubt about that.
Let's head
to the streets.
Yeah,
and we spoke to a cross-section of Nigerians about the new tax laws. Let's get their reactions.
Yes, I believe that when there is tax, I think that there will be improvement. I believe there will be a better Nigeria. So, and I believe the government is also should also be held responsible to orientate people about the tax, let them understand. The well-meaning Nigerians, some of them understand what it is, some don't know. So the people don't know, let them give them a proper orientation of what the tax stands for and how they are going to stand to benefit with the tax. But for me, I understand what it is. I trust the process. We are looking into, we are trusting that the administrators that are involved, the key players are involved, that they will maximize or use this tax very well to create a better Nigeria for us.
Yes, because I feel in the nearest future it will be useful, but for now, it will grow their purse. Our leaders are full of promises. They don't keep to it. I'm very certain, you see this tax, some of their children will use it to go to Harvard. It's certain.
I'm totally against it. Let me tell you, brother, I live in the ghetto. People are totally against this tax. They are afraid because the hardship is enough. Do you know? I mean, they on MTN, do you know what they are doing? They deduct money anyhow, data. They say 1 gig, it's not 1 gig. You understand? Crazy bees are all everywhere. What's the difference of government? So we don't work on it. They should just cancel it first and give us a good government. They should cancel it, provide job for people. Let things go down. Let people know that, okay, this what you are, if you start paying this tax, this is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to enjoy. Then people will welcome it.
If the resources will be used, channeled towards building the society, the Nigerian economy, you understand, the environment and all, fine. It's nice, but it has to be cut down because what I'm seeing there is really, really outrageous.
I'm a supporter of this new tax law. As a progressive, definitely it's going to help our economy and it's going to develop the nation in entirety.
Oliver, I can see the look in your face. Can you share with Nigerians what came to your mind? I know you're a presenter on
Interestingly,
the show.
I'm not the guest. Let's direct that reaction to our guest on the show.
Or your Luke told 1,000 stories.
You see, it's one of some of those things we've discussed earlier here. The trust is not there, and when it's there, it's diminished. I think you heard what the people want. Some of them, majority of them said, we want this tax, but we want it to be well utilized. We want, justification for this. And this is what people will continue to say. And I think it's the duty of the government to say, yes, these are the things we are doing with it. These are the things we are going to do with it. But you see, if there is no information, good information, good information coming out from the presidency or from the state, from the local government, that it looks as if the states are not saying anything because they don't want to be, caught unaware with all this.
Because they also have their own revenue services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have to begin to say, because the day you pay this tax, and if the state comes again and says, no, you have to pay this one, or increase what they've been paying, then that's where the problem is. So I believe it's a good reform in the good direction, but we have to, correct the minor mistakes that are there or the errors that are there, and then continue to justify why we are doing this. But in the long run, like one lady said, or the gentleman said, that look, in the next few years, we'll begin to see good things coming up. And that is the other one said, look, I don't want this money to go into their pockets. Because she was even emphatic that, look, this to send their children to Harvard. Can you imagine that?
Can you blame them? If you look at the newspapers, you look at the former Justice Minister, for example, the amount of money that has been bandied around is
That's
ridiculous.
one person.
So more money to the purse does not mean they won't have access to steal it. So they need to tighten anti-graft laws and also have early warning systems to prevent. Because what we do is reactive. This person has stolen all this money, and then you've tried to recover, you take them to court. They shouldn't be able to have access to all that money in the first place.
Well, like I said, you see, politics is quite different from the reality on the ground. And the people are expecting, look, after 2 years, you don't have anything to do again. You see what's going on around the country. It's like we're already in the campaign mood. Right. And these are the things that people, why are we getting this now when we are going into the next election? Is it, a lot of things will be discussed. But for small business people, they are trying to survive. SMEs are trying to survive. They don't have these opportunities. And now if you put so much on them again, but I think if you look at that, not much is put on them. There is a reference for them to really actually enjoy this. But then we need people to guide them. We need people to tell them these are the books you keep, these are the things you do so that you don't have unnecessary fear. I hope maybe there will be in some part of local government or some organizations like ours as well to continue to disseminate this information to our members and to say, look, if you have an issue, come into the office. We have somebody that will help you there.
All right, I have a question from YouTube. Shedrack Edja says, how can the tax deducted from my bank accounts, salaries paid, goods bought be reconciled so an individual won't be overtaxed?
Well, when the banks does that, the banks will submit their own books as well for auditing. I think what the gentleman wants is that, look, I'm paying so much, I'm buying so much. Whatever that goes out of your pocket does not come in again. And if there are things that you have, I mean, if it's a business person, you bought a computer, you bought, you know, definitely there is, yes, you keep records, and every year you don't take the money in one time, maybe 3 years. I mean, there's always a form to be filled. If you don't understand how to get that one into your business, get a consultant or tax advisor. They will get it done. I mean, if you build a house or you are paying your rent for the office, these are the books, these are the things that, I mean, there's always a room for you to deduct that from your turnover. Your turnover is not what they are taxing if you deduct all these things from it. Nobody will say don't buy your PC. True. You can buy 2 or 3, but you can't say you buy 5 laptops because it's easy for you to get receipts. So if they look at your company, you have about 2 people and you are buying 5 laptops, you are even inviting them to come into that place and check.
All right. Joe Femi-Dagunro, the founder and president of Kosofe Chamber of Commerce and Industry, thank you for your time with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.